5 lines. 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the amount of lines Boba Fett has in the original trilogy. And 5 is a bit of a stretch, because his one line in Return of the Jedi is just a scream. But still, this guy has managed to become one of the most recognizable villains in all of sci-fi. He has his own TV show, multiple lines of comic books, multiple books about him, and even the Goldbergs did one of their sappy endings about him in one of their episodes.
I think you missed something pretty big. This guy. No?
Of course, Boba Fett, he's my favorite character.
Gotta admit, he was pretty cool in this.
Wait a second. This was made way before Empire Strikes Back, so if you think about it, the holiday special gave us the Fett.
I even remember vividly at my very first midnight showing in 2002 for Attack of the Clones, where the whole audience gasped when Jango called this little boy Boba.
Boba, Ruded Sohip.
Heck, even with nerd culture only becoming recently cool, Darth Vader and Boba Fett seem to be the only characters from Star Wars that have transcended nerddom and kind of became semi-quasi-acceptable in modern pop culture. And once again, just 4 lines and a scream. Granted, this is in part because George Lucas is a brilliant director that knows how to take advantage of the principle of less is more. Go rewatch the lightsaber duel. Well, it's 3 people, so rewatch the thruel. Okay, doesn't make much sense. Go watch the lightsaber fight with Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. Just as the action builds up, there is a lull or break. Just as the action builds up again, there's another lull or a break. More action, and then there is a lull or a break. And now that I have ruined one of your favorite scenes from Star Wars, you'll never be able to unsee it again. But feel free to thank me later. But at the same time, that's the brilliance of George Lucas. Next time you watch A New Hope, pay attention to how little screen time is actually dedicated to the actual space combat during the Battle of Yavin. But I digress. Boba Fett is the shining example of how less is more can be so successful. Before I go any further, I am Jim Hoos, the ruiner of childhoods, and this is the worst film ever. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how the few fleeting moments on screen of Bobomir Eugene Francis Fett III, aka Boba Fett, provide important insight about some of the most important aspects of Star Wars canon as I discuss Boba Fett and the Stormtrooper theories. Before I get into things that will involve spoilers, I want to point out that this video is coming out relatively soon after the release of Book of Boba Fett. So while nothing I'm saying will probably be relevant to the show, I just won't be referencing it since it is still rather fresh and I just don't want to ruin the show for anybody. Also, while Star Wars is massive and provides entertainment through books, television shows, video games, comic books, and other forms of entertainment, Star Wars at its very core is a live-action franchise with billions of revenue earned at just the box office. So I am limiting my discussion to content from the theatrically released films and the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. And let's be real here. We all know that Disney isn't going to be putting some major canon-altering plot in some comic books with paltry sales and some children's shows with a Y7 rating. But hey, if you think a video platform like YouTube is a great place to talk about books, let me know in the comments, and I might even reply with a crude arrangement of emojis. But let's get into the first theory. Initially, in the Star Wars original trilogy, the Stormtroopers were regarded as just a normal military made up of countless men serving the Galactic Empire. But the prequels came out and upended this notion that the Stormtroopers were all genetically unique men. We see the Clone Troopers, and as their name suggests, they are all clones. And most importantly, they are enhanced clones of Jango Fett. Now we can say that between the Clone Wars and the Battle of Yavin, a lot of clones did not survive. This is evidenced time and time again in the prequels and Rogue One with a lot of dead clone and stormtroopers. But we also know that a good chunk of the clones survived, and as would be expected of clones, they inherited some things from their host, aka father. Please pay attention to Jango's head. And then watch this stormtrooper's head.
Take over.
To some, it is just a nice little reverse Easter egg, where the clone of Jango hits his head like his father did. But here comes the fun little game of mental gymnastics. The scene with the Stormtrooper is just a goof from 1977, and Jango hits his head as an homage and Easter egg in Attack of the Clones in 2002. So the event in 1977, in the future, inspired an event that took place in 2002 in the past, which caused it to take place in the future, but also the past because it was 1977, and now we are trapped in an infinite loop. Now obviously the Empire grew beyond the size of the Republic, and the clones weren't enough, so the Empire had to actively hire. And we saw this when Han Solo enlisted in the Galactic Empire, and even got his name out of the whole thing.
Solo.
Later on, the First Order comes along, and while clearly a spiritual successor to the Empire, they did not use clones. Maybe it was because by now the clones are in their 50s and probably aged out, or maybe getting kids and brainwashing them was easier.
Like all of them, I was taken from a family I'll never know.
But when The Mandalorian came out, it became blatantly obvious why clones were abandoned when Boba Fett first appeared. Let's look at the timeline. Boba Fett was born 32 years before the Battle of Yavin. When he meets Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, it is 9 years after the Battle of Yavin. If my math checks out, Boba Fett is around 42 years old. And if my eyes check out, Boba Fett looks like shit for being 42 years old. Here are some modern real-life people at the age of 42. When it comes to cloning, one of the few times cloning is brought up outside of Attack of the Clones, it doesn't even seem to be referred to as some well-regarded practice.
The Emperor is dead.
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
But then again, he acts like the Sith are masterminds behind cloning, when in fact cloning is introduced in Star Wars via the Jedi.
Master Cypher Diaz was killed almost 10 years ago.
But I'm sure he would have been proud of the army we've built for him.
But Snoke and Palpatine are clearly clones.
I made Snoke. I have died before.
And they definitely did not come out so well. In fact, if I had to use one word to describe all that is wrong with cloning in the films, it would be...
everything.
And let's not mince words here. This is fucking Disney. They made Carrie Fisher look like she was 21. And you know, even though Disney was founded by a man that had views on race that would make Hitler go, "Tone it down, Walt."
We are Siamese, if you please.
Well, they did really bungle that one scene where Peter Parker changes his hairstyle over a matter of seconds, but at least most things never get overlooked, and cloning in Star Wars is one of them. Cloning is clearly shown as an ineffective tool. Look no further than the timetable used to create the clone troopers. We all know for sure that it takes at least a decade to deliver functional clone troopers.
Master Cypher Diaz was killed almost 10 years ago.
But I'm sure he would have been proud of the army we've built for him.
And while the clone troopers went from amazing military assets that defeated the droid army and all but a few Jedi, they soon became ineffective soldiers as Imperial Stormtroopers. But Boba remained incredibly accurate with his shots. Oh, wait, he didn't make a single shot in all of his appearances. But he did maintain amazing awareness of his surroundings. Oh, okay, never mind. Now here's where the theory comes in. Maybe the ineptitude of Boba Fett as a clone does perfectly illustrate the shortcomings of the Stormtroopers because they were clones.
No!
And when we first see him in The Mandalorian, he has gone from a solitary gunslinger to now needing a sidekick to succeed.
In exchange, I guarantee the safety of the child.
Rejected ads.
Sometimes life isn't always going your way. That's okay. That happens to all of us. But the easiest way to turn that frown upside down is dogs. Dogs. They're man's best friend for over 10,000 years, providing unconditional love and nothing but endless support. Dogs. The species endorsed by Hitler.
The next theory I want to discuss regarding Boba Fett and the Stormtroopers is this nasty conspiracy theory that Boba Fett is somehow responsible for Luke's Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. We gotta clear this up right away. The deaths of Owen and Beru are not shown on screen, so it is possible that anyone could have done them. Granted, there are some context clues about who would have killed them. For starters, 2 droids matching the description of the droids that escaped from Leia's ship were spotted in the area and traced back to Owen and Beru's moisture farm. As well as there is an Imperial Star Destroyer orbiting the planet and in search of these drones. While there is no justification to ever kill innocent people, if I ever had to make one single exception to such a rule, it would be to prevent the wrong people from getting the plans to a giant planet-destroying superweapon of mass destruction like the Death Star.
He's telling people they're making a weapon. What kind of weapon? A planet killer!
And you know what? I'm just going to throw this one out there right now. But good old Darth probably wasn't too fond of Owen for giving 0 cross-eyed shits about his mom being abducted by sand people, so maybe he just sent a hit squad after them.
Where are you going? To find my mother.
But when it's all said and done, the theory that Boba Fett killed these people is a gross misunderstanding of this phrase.
No disintegrations.
As you wish.
Disintegration is the complete and utter destruction of something. Like literally, one of the definitions is an atom shedding particles to the point that it becomes a totally different atom. Being burned to a crisp is not exactly disintegration. Lastly, and most importantly, is that Boba, in all live-action appearances, does not have a flamethrower or any form of fire-based weaponry. His dad had a flamethrower, and while it can be argued that Boba took his dad's suit after Jango no longer needed it, logic dictates that the only human child on a planet of disgusting bugs probably wouldn't get to take a weapon-infused suit on his carry-on luggage off the desolate planet of Geonosis. Thank you for watching. That is going to round out this video. Please follow me on my socials, check out my shorts, please tickle that like button, please kiss that follow button, and if you want to, fondle that bell icon so you never miss a video. I appreciate you taking out your time to watch this video. I hope you have a good day today and a better day tomorrow. Until next time, I'm Jim Hoos, the ruiner of childhoods, and this is the worst film ever.